Welcome to First Coat, where we explore public realm art, how it's made, and why it matters. I'm your host, Stephanie Etche, an artist and entrepreneur based in Brooklyn, New York. I run Distill Creative, where I curate and produce site-specific art projects for real estate developers. I focus on creating more equitable and inclusive projects, and I want to get more exposure for the artists and developers doing this work. This week on First Coat, we have Lym Moreno. Born in Venezuela, Lym currently lives and works in Vienna. She combines a diversity of media and techniques such as drawing, collage, paper assemblage, and printmaking. Also known as Mosta, she creates work in public space where she constantly experiences different contexts and formats. Lym also generates a space of interaction, exchange, and understanding of the creative process through her workshops and teaching. I spoke with Lym about moving for love, pseudonyms, wheat pasting, and how she started doing work in public space. Here's our conversation. How have you been doing?
Well, good. Here in Vienna, I think, or in general in Austria, I think it's, I always say it's a wonderland. How I describe how was the quarantine here in Vienna, I think it was ride on a bicycle and a very flat path.
Well, thank you so much for doing this interview. Could you tell us about who you are and what you do?
Easy way. I'm an artist. Sometimes I like to be a little bit more conceptual. I'm a creative mind who like to spread myself in pictures, but in other words, yes, I choose to be an artist and then to be an illustrator. And that is what I mostly do, but I also like to say before, when you are a creative mind, then you also, depending on your personality, then perhaps you don't attach only to one thing. So that's me, okay, in the connection with the art and the illustration, then I teach them, but not really like in school fixed, like people looking at me for my different kind of projects. And recently, in the last 2-3 years, something like this, starting to work. I don't know how you call that in English, but I just know the German word. I try to translate, and it's like a cultural management, that's
okay.
Yes, like I try to organize events and projects for more behind, like a conceptualization of many things, and which is interesting because it's the other thing. And whatever's coming that I find interesting and to be still on my field. And which I find interesting, that can help me to keep growing, But yeah, let's say I'm not just only an artist and illustrator.
And where are you right now?
I'm in Vienna, in Austria, and right now this is my studio. It's 23 square meters, just for me. And it's pretty cool because it's like, I don't know if you see, the ceilings are very high.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to show you a little bit of the window. Let me see. Can you see it? Because there won't be too much light.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool place here because it used to be an old factory and then a school, and they squared it, and then it's like for 32 or 3 years, it's like a cultural house. I mean, like there are different studios and workshops, but also places where you can rent for very low money and may receive help for theater or dance. There are 2 galleries, a photo gallery and a contemporary art gallery. There are also a venue for gigs here done. And over here, there's like a building just for women's, I mean, like feminist and women's, like just only women can get inside. But also working another kind, people with also other kind of, not necessarily also art, also in the social field. You can rent a room here and meet major events like workshops or talks. The name of this play is Book. Yes, WUK, and it's Werkstätte und Kulturhaus, which means workshops and culture house. It's a very symbolic place in the city of Vienna because the architecture is built with brick. And you don't find this architecture anymore in the city. It's located more or less, some kind of central. I mean, it's a great location here. And yes, had this atmosphere here. But it's also like letting back in the years, because when you get inside here, it's not like a cool place where you wow. I mean, it's a cool place. I mean, but I mean like not so actual, or like in the side you feel like you get inside and you say, okay, I think I'm in the 80s. When the early 90s, I mean, it's really like from the people also, you know, how they look and so on. Many of the colleagues, they are working here, they have the workplace also, like I was like one of the youngs, and I'm not young anymore. And yeah, I'm very like from this decade, I mean. So here's where is my studio, and I'm very happy to have it. To have this pay, I got it since I arrived in Vienna. And it's a very lucky place to have in Vienna under the conditions that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm very happy to have it.
How long have you been in Vienna?
It's gonna be 10 years this September.
Wow.
Wow.
And what brought you there originally?
Originally brought me love.
Really?
Yeah, I was in love with an Austrian guy, and that's the reason why I came here. I got married, now divorced, but yeah, this was the reason. I mean, back in the time when I was still in Venezuela, I thought, yeah, I would like to definitely live in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
But that time I thought, well, you know, Berlin, Austria, great, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe Barcelona, of course. And so I never thought about Vienna. And that's the funny part, because many people that we're living here all around the world, there are some specific cases, you know, but mostly we just, Vienna choose us in a way. We never thought about Vienna, you know. But it's a very nice and hidden place. I mean, because the other cities are very famous, huh? But this city offer you a life quality that you can't imagine, you know, and it's still like a secret in Europe, and it's a very wonderful place where to be. Offered you also a lot of things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the reason why I came here. I mean, I got to know Vienna since summer 2005, actually, when I was visiting that time. That time was still my boyfriend, and spent here all the summers until I decided, okay, I will move here. I mean, at that time we decided to marry and so. And yeah, this was the reason why I came here. And I think I will die here. I don't know.
How did you meet?
How we both met? Oh my God, this was a long time ago when before Instagram, there was a platform made in Brazil. The name is Fotolog. I don't know if you know.
Fotolog?
Fotolog, yes.
Yeah.
And that was at the time where it was in the early 2000, yeah, I think. And it was the time where the street art was starting. Well, not starting, but just started to commercialize on the internet in that way. In this platform, we were a lot of artists who were doing street art, and that built that community, international community. So it was great to meet people, to see first the work of other people around the world, what they were doing,
Mm-hmm.
and also to get in contact. At that time, how was the platform design was important is to get in touch. I mean, to really talk. It wasn't all the like button. So you were always, you know, like, okay, you always want to say something about the picture design. So that's how we met. We met each other through our work. And then eventually after share some words and so on, then we started to share emails and so on until we started to chatting, and then things getting more deep.
And then you just met up in person.
No, then he came to Venezuela, yeah, to
Wow.
meet me, and then 3 months after that I came here, and so then we were having this long relationship for 5 years. Yeah.
And then you just decided to stay because
then we, of course, we were married. I mean, after 5 years, long relationship, we were sure that we were very much in love, and we wanted to keep together in one city. Was not sure in Venezuela or here, but we thought maybe it's better to do it here. And then, because that, when I get married, I mean, I came here and start everything again. It was good because I finished the university of 2008. So 2 years later, I moved here. So it was great. And to start, basically start to my career as it is here in Austria. Because when I left was just, well, of course I was having some work there, but not like in the house I have in here. And of course, and the time just arriving to a new city, learning a new language, and try to get your own contact, because at the beginning when you are in social situation, you depend too much of your partner, and it was for me great to have this place, and when I could get to know two different, well, not just because the place, just to have a place where to work, I think it's very important. I understand sometimes to the circumstance we don't have the possibility to have our own workspace, and we do it at home the best we can, so we arrange everything. But I realized in all these years that, wow, this place had to be, I mean, it's my holy temple. I mean, like, it's here and it's here. Doesn't mean that I can work in other places. Of course, I try in the quarantine to work at home. This was nice. And I thought, well, if I would have a bigger room, it would be great, but I have small rooms. And it's good also to have some move, like move from point B to C,
Right, not be in the same space all day. Yeah. Not leave the house.
Yeah. Exactly.
Where are you from in Venezuela?
From Caracas, from the capital, but I have been living there in a small city, like 16 kilometers north from Caracas, small village in the high hills, and which had another atmosphere. But all my life when I'm studying in Caracas, and so very city girl. And yeah, from there I am.
Do you go back often, or?
Not really often. I mean, since I'm living, the last time I was there was 4 years ago. Yeah, right now it's a difficult situation there. When I left, the country wasn't like this right now. It wasn't my reason why I left the country. It was loud reason, and because I always wanted to live in Europe. I don't care about Venezuela. But right now, in the last years, the situation is getting very bad, and my parents say, no, better just stay there, it could be dangerous. Don't worry about, because they're saying it could be dangerous. I like to travel a lot in the country. When I'm there, visit my parents, I also like to travel a lot, and they feel it could be dangerous for me, which I still don't think so, but, but it's just for the economic situations, and then my parents say, yeah, better just stay there and support us. But yeah, eventually, of course, I mean, it's the first time actually that it's a long time I don't see my parents, my family. I just have my parents and my brother there. My sister moved to Europe 2 years ago, my niece and her boyfriend. But yeah, of course, sometimes really missing that to have the closeness from the family, but yeah, here I have also nice. That's why I think the reason why sometimes as a joke I say I would die here, because I have a family also here. I mean, my friends, they didn't here, and which without them, of course, I wouldn't feel like I belong here. Just living here for those years, and of course there are things you say, okay, I'm not really from here, but I do feel like I have some deep connection with this country. I mean, and yeah, and through this relationship, when those friends, of course, made me feel I'm at home too, So it's nice.
Do you have any ancestry that's European, or like, have you looked into that, if there is any lineage there?
I think, yeah. Oh, yes. My grandfather, the father of my grandpa, from my mother's side. He was from the Canary Islands, and Yeah, but it's like, 2 generations,
Right.
not 3. But dialect, no, I mean, there was, as far, I mean, that's what, I mean, of course, the family, everybody knows, but no straight, like, okay, my grandfather or my father or my mom,
Right.
And my ex-husband.
Right.
It's very Austrian. Well, it's not laughing, but it was a part of family.
And how are your friends there? Are they more international or Austrian or?
That's a very nice question. At the beginning, we're all Austrian. Well, actually, my closest friends are Austrian. In the last year, I don't know, through the situations, I don't know, it's getting a little bit mixer. But mostly we are more Austrian. But yeah, as I said, most in the last year, 1 year. Yes, please. I'm again coming to the. It was important for me in the first years to get when Austrian because I could learn better the language. But I don't know. The last year, for example, I'm so like I don't want to speak more German. So I think unconsciously I'm looking for to have more international friends, so I could be more relaxed when I speak English as when I speak German, because sometimes it's another system. You probably can hear my accent, a slightly accent of German. I do have.
Yeah, a little bit. It's interesting because you speak Spanish, right? So so there's that yeah, it's funny.
And yeah, because you have a way how to say a way how to talk, no, like a rhythms, no, the way how you say certain things. I added that so easily, no? And when I have to speak in English, it's come this and some long time ago, also a friend told me like, oh, you speak English with an Austrian German accent. Oh my
God. That's so funny. I mean, if you've been there for so long, it makes sense.
Yeah, when you constantly use it to talk. But as I say, in the last year, I got like, I don't want to speak more German. I want to I forgot the English. I need to forget my English. I want to speak English now. But of course, Venice is a very international city also as well. So I could have also made my way without German. Many German also that. But for me, it's important also, So you get a lot from the culture and a lot of joke. Well, some I would never get. But you know what I mean. It's like it's a personal decision. I think when you want to learn a language, it's not easy. By the way, it's not easy language, German.
I know a tiny bit because I love Berlin. It's very different than English, I guess, but also similar in weird ways.
Yeah, in some ways, but in some others, like, oh my God.
Yeah. No.
Why you make it so complicated? You can write a little word for that. Why you write?
Right. Yeah. Long word.
Or when you want to write, I mean, whatever. Any language has this difficulties. I always say, okay, Spanish is easier. So I said to someone, when you don't learn Spanish, I mean, come on.
Yeah, Spanish is easier.
It's so easy. You just need to be a month talking with someone in Spanish. You learn everything you need. You need more.
Yeah.
So birds, of course, there are some tricky things, but the rest is very easy. So I don't think it's complicated.
This podcast is sponsored by JPG Legal. File your trademark application with an experienced trademark attorney. They have flat fee services, so there are no surprises. You have no excuse not to register your trademark. Just go to jpglegal.com. Full disclosure, JPG Legal is run by my husband. When we first met, he had a solo practice, and now he has 5 employees. Everyone's safely working from home right now, so I miss seeing them in person. If you need a trademark, go to jpglegal.com. How do you think your art has changed over time since when you lived, like growing up in Venezuela and then moving to Austria? Have you noticed a shift in your work? I mean, it is a long period of time, but I'm just curious if you've reflected on that and if it's changed based on where you are.
Well, the chance always will happen because I open to it, and I always like, I'm afraid to get to a point where I just keep doing the same until I die, So, and I know that it's gonna work, but it's not my personality. So in a way, of course, it has been changed, but not just because I'm here in Austria. It had changed because what came, how's my creative process, and that's why it changed a lot. And when I remember when I left Venezuela, what I was doing back there and what I'm doing now, I didn't keep only. Of course, there's a line, always will be a line, but I didn't keep for the interest I have at that time. I mean, could it be a decision and just growing more in that? But yeah, it's gonna be always something that I'm gonna add or I wanna improve, because it's my personality. I fear that I just keep doing when I realize. I mean, of course, it's difficult because in the way it's gonna be the same, aesthetically, but maybe some things will change. Aesthetic can be colors, can be lines, but can a lot of change come in the conception, the interest that you have. And at the time, I was very, very insecure and naive, and things, and I'm still naive and a little bit insecure. Yeah, through this experience also. I mean, that's come all together. I mean, the experience. Where are you? What's your interest in now? And how do you do to approve that? I think. But at the beginning, I think it was like again a little bit insecure when I came here because there was not this bright of color. So when I was comparing myself at that time, when others artists, I said, okay, maybe my work would not like here because it's too much colors.
Really? Huh.
But no, I found that the other way. That's one of the things, and I think this is one of the nice aspects. A lot of artists that I know from Latin America that they work in color, they have just this, in a natural way because how you perceive the colors that are so present in the culture, and when I compare this for example here, in Austria, and that of course that is one of the what people at the first look see of my work. The colors. For them, I get a lot of, okay, do you really know how to work with the colors? And yeah, I do. I have them on my blood. That's my specialty. And yeah, the thing I think it's nice that I keep that. It's made like some kind of differentiation. I don't know, but you see that. I mean, how when I see also what's this impression, what some people tell me also from here, like the kind of different when someone from here works in color, when someone from Latin America works in colors. I mean, the palette of colors is brighter, and like we don't feel ashamed to just try. All that. That's enough. Yeah.
Do you remember the first thing that you created or the first piece of art that you made?
This is interesting because this is like look, when I was small, I hardly was doing drawings or painters or so. I think the first art discipline that came to my life was music. And I was performing a lot. Actually, I want to become a singer or a writer. So it was when I was little. I was very having a lot of imagination, like everyone. But I was always wanted to do something. Like once I want to be doctor. The other, I know I still want to be singer. I want to be a writer. And then finally, when I was like 12 or 13, I saw I want to be an architect. And my father told me, "Oh, that's great." So then you should start to build your houses. I mean, like models, And I grew up when the father of my mom had a printer shop. So when, I don't know if you know those old letter press print. Well, so I grew up with graphic elements, and because when I was visiting my grandpa, you know, where we were there, and I was planning a lot with papers. You know, actually, my favorite job to do there was organize the show window and when the cars invitation of all kind of thing. I mean, this was pretty nice job. Whatever. So I started to collect papers and build my own house for my dolls. Yeah. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna want to be architect. Huh? But then I said, no, I want to study cinematography. I wanna do movies. But then I was already in the teenager time, and I came to a good friend, and he was studying graphic design. And I thought, well, I like it a lot. It was very attractive. As I said before, I was hardly drawing things, you know, doing visual work and stuff like that. But I was so attracted by the work he was doing that I tried. And that's why I tried to, when I studied graphic design, is really when came those products, no, that was really starting to do things. Even when I know that back there I was suffering a lot because I thought I wasn't a good drawing, and but at that time I did, for example, a small book, you know, where I wrote the stories and illustrated by myself in a very simple way. You know? But yeah, I think that and that house for my dolls, paper dolls they had at that time. It was like a vintage girl. Me and my sister. Was the first things, I mean, well, beside all the songs that I was singing.
And how did you start making art in public space?
Well, this was in the beginning, yeah, this was 2002? 2000, yeah, because what's the thing at my city, where the boys doing graffitis, and I was starting to see this community international, as I said before, on this platform. And I was already, yeah, I was studying, I finished the graphic design school, I don't remember very well, but anyway, I was very attracted, you know, and by that media, I mean, I would like to explore in that way and to put it on the street, you know. It was cool, of course, you know, okay, graffiti, spray can, yeah, cool. But it was kind of difficult to try. So I started with the basic from street art, which was stencil, wood paste, and stickers, of course, as guerrilla. And I did it a lot in my city, and that gave me like courage, because in the beginning you, okay, this is illegal, maybe I shouldn't do it, you know, to start to feel comfortable in that, you know. And to also, because the boys, they were in the graffiti crew, they were the boys in the graffiti crew. And start to get some respect from the graffiti groups. And then the person that we were starting to do street art at that time in the city. And yeah, and then slowly, okay, from those, okay, start to paint words. I mean, but very small thing. And at that time was interesting because I approached them in the way like, okay, was very freestyle. Like I just go into a spot, see what is around, okay, and just figure out what you're gonna paint now. And this took me a lot of time. At that time, I was starting. One who helped me a lot at the time was my ex, you know, because he was also in the thing and support me also. Like, yeah, it's a good way to start, just freestyle, you know. And it was very, very cool to do in that way. Yeah, this was 2002. Yeah.
So is there still work up in Caracas?
And the city where my parents live, yes. Actually, really? My mom told me, yeah, a couple of days ago, my mom told me, like, oh, some of my pieces are vanished. I mean, the cross, but there's still two of you. Wow. Nobody has crossed them yet. I think they know exactly who you are and where you are right now. And and I said, Mom, could be like this, or just I don't know. They don't care. They still hang.
Do you have photos of them? Do you have them on your website or anything?
No, more on my website. They are not, because they're really old. some of those I did in cooperation with my ex, because we used to paint together. It was cool actions, like when we were in Venezuela. And then, looking, because there was more relaxing at that time, you just go to a spot and then you talk with the owners, even if it was a house or it was like a shop, whatever, you talk and say, hey, I'm a street art painter. It's really possible I paint. I have all paints with me, and most of the people were okay, and like, okay, but why you want to paint? Like, is something political? Yeah, no, okay, great. Or then some people were having concerned. I mean, like, they thought, okay, if you paint, please bring a message, like, I don't know, take care of the wall. And like, okay, I try. And it was easy in that way. Some people were like wondering, like, but do you really do that? I mean, for what? You paint the whole painting and then you do this for free? I mean, what's the point? Because was people who were asking something. Well, the point is just to paint. It was fun, because you were having the situation and when you had to talk with the people and you had this interaction while you just had to still to paint. But of course, eventually you can get some more connection, like, hey, I know a friend and a friend, they also want someone who paint in the world. That was cool, because that's what you wanted. You wanted to get more. I mean, I never thought that time, or even now, to make money of that thing, was only thing of give me a possibility to express myself another way. No, in the way, because I'm a romantic in general about art. Just in that thing in general of my work, it's the only thing that I haven't seen with those eyes. Like, okay, I do that, but how much money do you have? Of course, in the last year, being commissioned to do a few things, But I think because that background, they gave me like, okay, I don't want to earn money with that. I just want to try it. Let's see, I want to say have fun, but let's say like to spread myself another. Because for me, sometimes was hard because I'm not a painter, so I'm not here. I'm a studio painter, So the only way that I'm painting is when I'm doing in a wall a few times in years. So for me, it was like, okay, let me try this. This is experiment. Something works, something doesn't work, Yeah.
And you were using, do you use spray paint still, or?
No, I mean, back there I was trying, of course, because it was cool, it's sexy. You have a spray paint. Of course, like this. No, but then I thought, okay, this way too expensive, you need more. It's not also so ecological. Then it's easier to carry when paint, and when you do and that thing, it's look more professional. I mean, not professional, I said a stupid word, like look, when you're holding a brush, you're a painter, you're an artist. But when you're holding a can, well, at least this was comparison in Venezuela, and I think all here in Austria, you're doing something vandalic if you're using a spray can. But if you have a brush, you're an artist. Yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
No, for me, it's work. It's work. I mean, I have more now after so many years. I have more the flow, flow with the brush and all the roll and what else.
And are you using acrylic or house paint?
No, I house paint.
House paint.
Yeah, house paint for
Latex.
outdoor. Yes, it depends, of course. If there's something I don't know. It's a nice color that I just find for acrylic, then of course I use it. I mean, it's also resist. I mean, perhaps can lose a little bit the brightness after the years, but painting with acrylic is way more expensive than painting with those you buy just later,
right,
or whatever.
Right. That's so interesting. I didn't know about your whole like graffiti coming of age in Caracas.
And there's no more on my website because I know, come on, it's too old. And because at that time, I was painting was a girl. This was my character. I started to paint that character under Mosta, and everybody knew, okay, this is a Mosta character. It was a girl. I was always experimenting, but mostly it was red hair, and mostly was naked. And yeah, it was interesting, you know. But I think when I came here, it was 2000. I think the last time I painted that character, I think, was 2009. Yeah. And after my 2 years here, I decided, you know, I don't want to paint more a girl.
Is that where your name comes from?
My name comes from, this is a very stupid thing, but it's not, you know, my name's website is called Mostaza, and that is Win Mosta. Mostaza, I just took the first 4 words and I said, okay, that sounds cool, Mosta. And I keep it on the whole line. There is nothing. I was too young.
Yeah.
But yes, the one I still keep it when I paint. I paint under that, and some people get confused. Like, yeah, wait, but you are Lym. Why you paint it? Yeah, but that's still my pseudonym, so I really like to still use it. You know.
Con Mostaza is your.
No, just only Mosta.
Just Mosta. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was confused too, because I was like, I think this is her, but I don't know.
Yes, yes, because
so you tag with Mosta.
Yes, always. When I paint, always Mosta. I never do that Lym. Never. Oh, of course, the people know at this point who is who.
Right.
I mean, it's not more an issue because at that time, for when I learned it, you know, you have to you have to have a name on the street. No, you just can't do your name. And at that time, of course, was happened. And now in the years, of course, okay, it's the same person, right? Mm-hmm. But I like to keep it still to have that person.
Right. The street name. The street
yes, yeah, it's my street name, and I like to keep it like that, you know. And I never thought, well, maybe in the last 2 years of I shouldn't change that. No, I mean, let's start to sing a sign like Lym Moreno. I said, no, keep it. Mosta.
What about with your wheat pasting? Is that still Mosta?
Yes. Yeah.
Just anything in the street.
Everything that's on the street is Mosta. Yeah. I mean, the people who know it, I mean, they identify. Okay, this is Mosta. You know? The people who don't know me, it's like, okay, who is this person? I think it's Lym. Yeah, no, but she's Mosta. Who? What? But it's not Lym. It's happening right now. But as you said, I mean, everything was on the street, or when I paint in a wall, because sometimes a commission is not really on the street, but I painting under Mosta.
Are you an artist? Submit your portfolio at distillcreative.com/artist. You'll get on our Distill directory, our artist database, and be considered for upcoming art commissions. Can you explain wheat pasting to someone who doesn't know what it is? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, how should I describe it? It's a technique. Yeah, it's a technique. It's about to make posters, work on paper, mostly, poster, whatever is the technique you use. Could be printing, can be copy, could be painting on a paper, you know. But to paste up that on the street, and you mostly use wheat paste, glue, and that's what get also named. But in this is also like you get very mixed name, I think. You call it wheat paste, you call it paste up, you call it just straight up poster, you know. But if you do it with wheat paste, I mean, you really original wheat paste, then it's a wheat paste. And
are you making it yourself?
Yes, but it's very easy. I mean, you take a month of wheat, a month of water, you put them together, and then you boil it, and then you have this thick glue. And then if you want that glue forever, and you add a little bit of sugar, you know. And because it can happen that you paste up a poster and then someone want to take it, or someone want to take it off for personal collection, or just because don't like that, I don't know, they clean up the seating or something like that. And if you want to make sure that that's forever, then you can add some sugar to this mix. And that's what wheat paste is, and that's what I've been doing. I mean, like that way since 2015, when I started to explore, because I say, okay, you know, I do a lot of work in paper in my studio. What if I start to do it also for the street? So I started to collect posters from the street for events or kind of thing. posters which I find interesting, other because they're graphic or they have colors and they I find interesting. And with those, I collect them and bring them here and then make collage with them. I mean, those figures, those faces, and then printing out again to the street. I mean, with paste and so that's.
I feel like that's such an interesting, it's both like recycling in a weird way.
Yeah.
And like, and both recycling physical things and then like cultural things, right? And mixing them together in different ways.
Yeah, of course. Have this also like behind, even when, I mean, it's like, it's not how you say, like a statement on my work, but I do live in a kind of ecological, responsible way. And, well, I do really feel more like a really minimalist, you know. I try to be conscious about what I consume, even as an artist. Recently, I got a visit and the person told me, "Wow, you're really minimalist person. Where are your equipment? I mean, where do you really have everything in this small box? Everything that what you need." I said, yes. So the work, of course, when that and the industries is interesting because, of course, there's also the research where you can find materials. I mean, that is also very a thing that I learned back there in Venezuela, where you were in a place where sometimes you have to improvise because you don't get the money for buy that material, you know, and you have to improvise. So that is something that keeps so still in my life, you know, because where I live here, I can have it, you know, everything, but I say, well, but you know, let me improvise. I save money and and also adapt to another. So I keep, in general, don't like to collect things, which is weird for an artist. I mean, objects, very weird. So I'm one of those. But in case of paper, it's like, okay, it's very useful because, okay, I just need to go to the street, collect the ones I feel interesting, and when they make a new artwork, we have a lot of graphic information now, no? To put all those pieces together, those graphic elements, and one new one now, and pasting up on the street, you know. And that way, of course, I know people say, "Wow, this is pretty ecological." Yeah, of course. I mean, there are plenty of materials, and I think, well, maybe for people who like to work in that media, I mean, when industry, it's also like you could also, what is the possibility also to, if it's possibility, to use some of the, or to get materials from the context, from the environment, which means, okay, it could be, can I use the papers? Because I don't know how it's there, but here in Vienna, I think the cost for print flyers and posters are very low in comparison with other cities in Europe. So you find a lot of graphic print material, flyers and posters everywhere in the city. And you have a lot of material. So if it's interesting, of course, and then, I mean, for me, it's interesting to have that, you know. If first collecting, I like that, no, I don't like that, you know. Okay, and then bring them here and then see what I can do with that, and then replace them, you know.
Yeah. And then does that inspire your painted work, the designs, or do you think it's just a subconscious thing?
What do you mean?
Because you do have kind of a graphic style and you use a lot of patterns, and it looks like in your wheat paste, you're manipulating existing patterns, right? Or existing graphics. Yeah. But in your painting, you're creating that, you know, from nothing. But I do see there's like a language where they talk to each other, and it's like similar colors and things, even though they're completely different, you know?
Yeah, actually, yeah, of course, but it was the other way. I mean, from the, because that's what I'm doing also when I work in college in my studio. I using I wasn't hardly, since I started to work in college, I was hardly using paper when with the already printed graphic material. You know? I had some in my collection because we're interested, but hardly using. I was always interested on the paper colors. You know? And to use them as much as I can. Recently, of course, I like it because I like the thing of color and contrast of colors. I mean, to make more rich, aesthetic my work. And then I started to do those on powder, painting them, whatever techniques I use for create those patterns. And of course, when I started to do that, when the street posters was like, why should I? But I hardly use already printed paper. Why not? Let me try. Because it changed. I always tell the kids, if I start to use already exist material, it changes then the concept of my work. Why do I using those? Mm-hmm. And I was feeling so okay. Then everything changed, and I had to rethink now. Even if it was just I just wanted to explore material, and I was that's why I was not so sure. But in the end, they did, and it was okay. It's fun, but yes, it's happened like that.
How do you balance your fine art practice with your public art practice and with teaching?
Well, life is about balancing. So if you're not doing that right, I don't do anything at all right. In a way, of course, it's complicated sometimes because there are many things which are perhaps have the same final result. But in the way I connect them, just because they are creative process in different way, and each of them allow me a way to spread myself, When I teach them, it's cool because I do what I'm probably doing when I'm here sitting in the studio. I interacting with people, And when people come to my workshop, they want to learn a technique, And I always say, okay, I don't want to disappoint you. You will learn something, of course, but it's not my focus, Like you learn how to cut that and you're gonna learn, of course, but it's more about you learn about the ideas. We choose that media because make the thing more easy if you don't have experience or you are not good on drawing or whatever, But I want you to learn about the creative process. So in the end, I want you to start to think about what is that creative process on you, to understand it. Even if you're gonna leave this place and you're never gonna do like that, anything like that, or you're not interested in art or become an artist at all, And that is interesting, for me, because then approach like this give me more, it's my chance to this interaction and give more inputs and ideas and try to help them on that moment for that day to think about each of those the things that normally they don't because they want to focus just and do the thing nice,
Mm-hmm.
And I say, well, whatever. I mean, maybe it's not gonna be nice and right just for today. If you really want it, then you have to be constant in that, And that's a nice experience. And by the others, of course, as I said before, painting on the street bring me the possibility to explore in a media that normally I don't do in my studio. And it's format because it's another thing when I work small here at my desk, when I'm big there. Scale thing, and as I say, I'm not a painter, so, or I know describe myself as a painter, and that's the way, classic way. Also the projects as illustrator, which bring which are not my things, with that I represent, it's my style when other ideas that to represent and picture, And of course, it depends on the personality. My personality is like I like to just don't keep doing one thing. I get more excitement and more challenging when I'm on different kind of projects. And each of them need time. that's the horrible thing. And yeah, balancing is a challenge, and because you think, well, maybe I should just focus on this one thing, and make it really great and right, and then I don't need to worry anymore about anything, But then you say, yeah, okay, but I do really need those two. So yeah, sometimes of course I'm more in one specific project than another, but I like that way, and because as I say, each of those bring me possibilities there, and then giving me more experience and more motivation to keep doing, and beautiful feedback, what I get from the people. When people say to me, "You were inspiring me," I feel like, oh my God, this is so much responsibility right now. Okay, well, should I say pants? Pants. Why can do and wrong?
Well, so related to that question, how do you make money and how has this changed over time?
The relation with money is very interesting, personally, because I have, I guess, as many issues with that. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I have been, when I made my studies of art, I was in a context where we were thinking more romantic way. You know, the art shouldn't be commercialized, and we're talking about a context where people really think more about commercialized art because you need it, money. So I was in this university where was always this, you know, oh, your work, Lym, your work seems to be very, very commercial work. And it was for me like, okay, that's bad. Shouldn't look like that, I know. Should look more abstract and more complicated. So of course, it took me. I got a lot of struggle to find that. You know, as I say, it's helped me right now to be active in many different things. You know, because well, you get creative input in one direction, but also financial. You know, so there is this project running. Oh, great! But this other project, which is maybe nothing to do with that, which I had to work maybe just writing a concept for whatever project is. Okay, it's gonna be in 6 months, but then you know. No, and I found, and because it's belong to my personality, I also need that to be active in any different sense. Okay, it makes sense to when I find financial research from all those projects, you know, and to keep doing what I'm doing. And also, of course, real estate is good because when one gets stuck, like, okay, then okay, there's the other thing. Because of course you have to be very creative to find it, you know. We know it's hard, but I think it's hard. It's cost me a lot of time to understand why it's hard to live as an artist. It's because, especially that thing, well, especially because the education that I got, no one told me that you have to take that as a business. And when I was studying in university and then when I came here, you know, and it was like, yeah, okay, you have a talent, great. Can I get money? Yeah, everybody do that. All people can do that. Why can't I do that? And this, all those skills, business skills, marketing skills, then you have to learn how to do it. No? And it's of course depend where are you moving. You know, I decide to not only be dependent on Brighton projects to get money for make art, which is of course a way. Many people that I know do that, but it's very exhausting because you always have to be bright in a project and not always taken, and you are less time working on your studio. You know? So you always have to write a concept or apply for a grant or something. You know? Or you, of course, the other way, yeah, you got a gallery, it's great. But I don't know, I don't have a gallery. So yeah, it's just like I think when the time and when you grow up and you get more mature and understand the reality on that business and of course depending of the country, because I will never compare Vienna with New York. Vienna has a specific market and specific need, and they move slower than in general other countries. So adapting to also to that condition, you know, it's like, okay, I got it. Yes, slowly. Yes, okay. But yeah, it's like that.
Are you still represented by Loveblood Creative Agency?
Yeah. It's pretty new actually. It's like a year. Yeah, a year.
How does that work?
It's a quite small and totally new agency. You know, I still get any commission from the agency, but it's okay for me because I know. She's just starting. A year ago, and we are over 20 artists there, so we have also nice communication with each other. So both trust and so, but I cannot complain to her. You know, it's like there are general things. You know. If I don't get a job from her, you know, it's okay with me. I still get some of my market here in Austria or in German speaking, so it's fine. You know.
Are you a real estate developer looking for a unique amenity for your site? Get our free guide, 10 tips for commissioning a site-specific artwork, at our website, distillcreative.com. And can you tell us about your upcoming exhibition?
Oh yeah, this one's gonna be on August 22, no, 21 and 22. It's just 2 days show exhibition together with 3 other friends and colleague artists. We're still on the doing, but it's gonna be here in this area, and yeah, we are gonna to. I think most are going to show new works they have been working the last year and the last month. Sorry, it's interesting now we put together because the join the youngs together is the fact that we are mostly graphic and colorful, you know, in different ways. Some work more abstract, lyric, expressive. Some others are very geometric. Some are all very like Lorem, like how should I describe exploring drawings, like I can be related to indigenous drawings, like say like that, with like and it's kind of interesting, you know, we all together and contrast, but with that point of color and graphic. And I'm working in series of work which are collage, of course. And but those were the first time I work in collage in a big format, because normally I do it small, and they are more big as usual, and we're exploring also some aesthetic, some new palette of color and texture. But behind also was like a big thing, because when I started to work on that series was still the issue of the restrictions from the quarantine and, you know, the pandemic situation. It's like, okay. And I call that series like the survivors of a pandemic, which are just mostly faces of fictional characters which are pumping up without mask. It's mask wearing. And yeah, it's like in that direction. That's gonna be next August. Yeah.
And what about the book you mentioned? What's the book project you're working on?
I'm working on the idea. This is on my interesting topics. Sexuality. I mean, it's a personal interest in it. And when I mean personal, it's like I read, I educate myself about the issue. I really like it, because I think, in my opinion, we have a lack of sexual education. And it's interesting, the topic. Have been always present on my work, but not in a constantly way. I mean, yeah, constantly something, but this issue was present on my work for sure. But I don't know, because sometimes you feel maybe shame or whatever. Don't feel sure if I should do a new series of work with that, you know? Which, as I say before, is had been a topic which I personally like so much and been interested in and make my own investigation about. So this one is starting to do a serial drawing and doing, which is drawing is one of my favorite media, but I hardly show them or present them, you know? But the whole time drawing. So thinking about that, I say, okay, it's a very nice connection when I'm sitting here and start to draw something on my sketchbook. So yeah, it's okay. This is something that you constantly do, and let's try, you know, with that topic. No? So I'm making those drawings. When, yeah, that's the thing to still figure out. I mean, it's gonna be a book, but I still don't know how to approach like in an education way, or more like a fiction story about those characters that are in this visual story. And that thing I mostly were like, hey, I do first make the drawings, and then after I have the series, then I decide, okay, I'm gonna write a story about this. And kind of improvise based on the image, you know, because I tried the other way and it was kind of hard, you know, because I mean, a lot of like, okay, first you have to create this story and then putting on the pictures. So I got a lot of stress, and so I said, okay, keep it. I mean, relax yourself in that, and I'm doing it the other way. And yeah, and it's gonna be a small published book, which I figure out late this summer which technique I'm gonna use to print it, but it's gonna be definitely a limited edition and small serial book with those erotic drawings based on fictional real. I mean, it's all together because it's fun because sometimes when I post something like this, I don't post on my feed, I post on my stories some erotic drawings. And I get some friends who started to ask, if this real? Is this real happen to you now? Or is that man exist? Or
Did we miss something?
Yeah, it's like, well, it's all fictional. But it's a way I like to attract the attention on the topic, because in my fantasy job, I do sexual education. But still figure out how to put that together with my artist practice. I mean, like how should I do that? But by now I just want to do that, and I'm very excited for the drawing that come now and how that's gonna look in the end.
What do you think is the role of an artist?
This is a very, I mean, I don't know if you ask yourself about that, but specifically myself in the last time during the quarantine, I was upset on that question. Because there were a lot of things going on outside and also in my mind. And then, so if it made sense, in that moment was for me like, made sense, I'd go to my studio and keep doing the same as not anything happened, I was very in conflict with myself. Then I figured out, like, girl, you don't need to stress yourself so much, because I was asking my friends around, and they were also chilling, like, I took the time I'm doing this new series of work, I'm scanning my work, I'm doing this course, And I was like, I'm the only who's crazy and upset about it. Had the answer that question, because sometimes like I find myself in these things like where I want to be useful for the society in terms like, okay, I'm here and to help you right now, and how to do that through my artist work, So of course, it's a thing like the role of us as artists is one to find like, okay, to express about the reality that we have, and that reality you can do it on your ways. That maybe is focused on different. My case is like I've never been a political artist, but I do have a political. Did I? Yeah. Opinions and about issues that happen. But I never wanted to bring it on my work, but somehow they are. It's social issues, And then, I thought this is the role of the artist. We communicate our ideas and those different medias to create empathy and connection, Sometimes that empathy and that connection is very clear for the viewers. Sometimes not. Sometimes you have to introduce to that through a whole experience that you create to them. But it's important to have that connection, and you find it mostly through the emotions, and you made that empathy, And then you can perhaps bring the message that you want to bring, whatever it is. And of course, in my thing, I have also an important thing on something aesthetic, because also this is important for me. And to those very catch moment when someone sees some of my pictures, and perhaps just catch the colors, the texture, But then when they look closely, and start to give their own interpretation, and there's the connection, and then, and there's the empathy. You got it. You are closely, but it's okay. and that's it. We have the tool also to express perhaps things that are very complex, and many things, and we give through certain media. We materialize. How you say materialize? No, it's German. It's French. You made that in a form, whatever is in a form that you can hear it because it's music, or is in a form that you can see because it's a visual art. But that you can also perhaps can flow when you hold sense. That's the role of the artist, and then you decide if you are connecting with some stray statement, could be politic or whatever, But yeah, that's and since I found that answer, I feel more relaxed.
I really like that answer. I had the same struggles. I mean, I'm still kind of struggling with it, but have come to a similar conclusion in that. And also with the podcast, like for me, it's really important to share more artists so people know that artists like you and other artists are out there, because I think it's easy to get obviously overlooked or just not really understand the depth and the meaning behind things and the time and like the true desire to change, right? Like to create a better world for everyone, but there are specific ways that different people are doing it, and it gets confusing when, like right now we have all the protests going on, right? And it's like, should I just be making protest signs every day? Maybe. Or like I was going to start to do some work in the street, and then it's like, is this really the best work for the moment, right? So I think just having that, it's so important to be constantly questioning that and rethinking like why you might be making something, but without preventing you from making anything, right? Without like blocking yourself, because otherwise we would just, I don't know.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, we can be very confused right now, especially right now, because we have very many information and ideological directions, which can make us very confused in a way. Okay, doing the right thing now? That should I stay home? Should I go outside? How should be active in this society as an artist? Should I make more political work because it seems like it makes sense, no? But no, that's not my thing, and should ignore that, because I don't want, and it's difficult when you have those things because you, in the end, you be confused. But I think that's the point also, like to keep authentic, and that thing what you're doing. Sometimes, of course, you don't know exactly 100% why you're doing what you're doing. You feel sometimes, as I know, it's for many artists, it's like something that you feel. I know it sounds very romantic. You wake up and you just feel the thing. And you just start to do, not really like that, but sometimes you have a need, and there's a thought, and you say, hey, I have that idea. I don't know how to, but I'm very obsessed with that thought, and made me question it about and around and say, okay, do I do it that way? And that's great when that happens, And when you use that, also that energy, when the thought, they also help you to, I just gonna try, And both together made in the end a meaning of what you're doing, And maybe because I know it happened that you just start to do things because you feel this is the thing you feel to do that in the moment, And maybe in the moment, no conscience, you don't have no clear idea, But in the way you are doing it, you start to put those ideas together, And may see the meaning of that what you're doing more useful or whatever, like yes, no. But I think it's important now for many keeping authentic and try to keep in very central, very balanced, because are many things who destroy us and make us think things that maybe aren't true, but we think because we constantly listen it, because we don't question yourself, we just keep on just one perspective. And at that time, if you keep just in listen just one side of the story, listen just one perspective, I think you're losing too much, too much knowledge, It's a beautiful time to even when all the things that happen, which are very stressful, of course, and make you feel like, okay, there is future. Where are we going now? I mean, it's crazy, but it's theirs. I mean, you decide how, and you have to be very balancing on that, to don't lose yourself so easily and so many thoughts, ideological things, and questioning it. I think this is very important all the time. Even when, one, because you don't understand, you have to ask because you don't understand. And the other because, yes, I do understand, but it's still, it's really like this. So now keep one perspective. I mean, you grow more, that's my opinion, intellectual and emotionally and always when you absorb it. You wouldn't and then know everything because that's not the thing that you have to know everything and understand everything, It's just be open, There's just no one thing, Never gonna be like this, There are many, And it's okay if you don't like all those. You like choose one, it's okay, But understand try to understand the others' many possibilities, or accept them, like, okay, you are their possibilities. Yeah, but keep authentic is also, or honest also with yourself. It's difficult in those times, I know.
What have you read or listened to that's inspired you recently?
I read recently a very interesting book. A personal investigation I'm doing. And it's called, let me think. I'm very interested in psychology issues because help me to understand. I'm very interested in human behavior because this is all about we interact each other and our emotions play an important role in all of our decisions and everything. Just that we are not aware of them. Anyways, interested pretty much in psychology things and core and philosophy. This come sometimes specific issues. For 2 weeks ago, I was very interested about to understand how the algorithms work on the intelligent yeah, right. And how it's manipulating our decisions. I mean, in terms of the internet. But right now, it's just again to keep on the psychology thing. And I'm reading a book to try to understand the psychology of men. Well, it's a very interesting book because I read it by a psychologist, German psychologist, and made me help little bit the psychology of the men. And it's like, okay, you have more troubles than we have.
Can you send me the title later?
Sure, it's in German. I read it in
maybe
German. Maybe it's an English version. I don't know. I just reading in German. It's kind of interesting because for me, like, interesting also, like, there's many things that we always talk about. There are things that might be changed in our society. I think it's hard to change things just like this. You have to make the people conscious about it and optimize what they have. And yeah, in terms of behaviors when humans in relationship, I'm very interested also in these behaviors, women and men, and how it happens is something we don't get each other, understand each other in our relationships and so. And yeah, that's why I'm reading that book, and it's like, oh my god, very interesting. Yeah.
Thank you so much for chatting today. Where can our listeners find you?
I'm mostly on my studio or my home.
Online. Sorry, where can they find you online?
Online, yes. I'm online, of course. I'm on my website is www.conmostafa.com, and on my Instagram, Lym Moreno. I think I'm the only one, Lym Moreno. I don't know. Well, of course, there's the Facebook and under Lym Moreno as well. And yeah, basically those. You can also text me on my private telephone number, but I do use WhatsApp and so.
We'll definitely link to you so people can find you. And thank you so much. It was so nice to hear more about your work. And I have so many more questions now, but maybe we can chat again.
Yeah, sure, totally. I told you, I like to talk. Yeah. I'm really happy for the invitation to take part of your project. Give you and send you the best energy to keep doing it. You are really doing something nice, something cool, and I believe for yourself. Besides the project that you have, it's also for you very inspiring to get in touch with other artists and to listen to them. Keep doing it. I think it's a nice way to also, of course, to get connections and but also to exchange those, and to see whatever we can build together.
Yeah, no, it's like a virtual studio visit. I've just snuck everybody's studio so I can see. It's really cool. It's such a nice thing to do right now because I'm not seeing really anyone besides, Thank you, and stay in touch, and maybe we can meet up in person at some point. So.
Oh yeah, sure. If you like to come to Vienna, it would be nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a very nice city, I tell you. Really. Let's keep in touch. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for watching this episode of First Coat. If you liked this video, please subscribe and check out the next episode in our playlist. Let me know what else you want to learn about public realm art in the comments below. And follow us on Instagram at First Coat Podcast or at Distill Creative. First Coat is a production of my company, Distill Creative. Check us out at distillcreative.com.